Shalom Akim, Kal Halal La, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua Bahashem Rachal Kodash, and double honors to the great and apostles. Thad Yahweh, Thad Yahushua for the strength in order to make this video. And Yaratazah, you find it edifying and exhorting as well. Edifying meaning to build up, exhorting meaning to encourage. So, just to really get straight into it, as you would have heard some news on it, of course, over here in the UK when it came to the digital ID. Now they're saying that, well, in due time, before it gets clear in everyone's eyes, there'll be ID required to access certain websites, man. But of course, it's not just, of course, they say adult content, that's one thing, but also not just that, but for other types of websites, such as one could say gambling too. But the point is, to access certain websites, you'll have to show an ID, which means the age of anonymous browsing, it's that time is running out. That time is running out because Esau wants to be like the Most High, and he wants to have that oversight, on what you're searching up for, and then why you're doing this, why you're doing that on the internet. So really, we're coming into those times where Esau, he's going to be able to see everything, man, on the internet. Just he has that to a high degree, but not like he doesn't have an oversight, because there's ways to hack your way into things, VPNs, and if you're more so into the computers, you'll be there are ways to circumnavigate Esau's oversight. Well, the ones right now, but of course we're coming into a time where you wouldn't be able to access these websites with a certain level of privacy, but at the end of the day, the Most High is using Esau to set up this beast system. So before I start this video, let me get a precept again, just to clarify the point. This is Isaiah 14:30. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. And it says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So the point is, despite Esau having that mindset, to be as God, he wants to be a God. Even certain ones, certain of the Amalekites as well, they see themselves as gods as well. You probably see it in certain documentaries or videos out there of them saying, they see themselves as a god, and that's the ones who do reveal themselves. But the elites who are in the shadows, that's their mentality. They will ascend. It says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I'll be like the Most High. That's their incentive. So with the internet now, when the MOTB then comes out, there'll be certain things where, in order to use it, they say, all right, what's your chip identification? In order to, you got to be able to see how Esau would implement this. That could be one way too, where it says, all right, in order to log into your laptop or computer or to access a certain site, you got type in or scan, that implant, to be able to have access. So then they'll then authorize or verify your identity, and then you'll have access to the site. But for those who don't have one, you won't be able to access these things no more. That so-called freedom that you feel right now, or at least the illusion of it, on the internet, it won't be, it's only for a temporary time, man. When Esau has these events to cause people to take this MOTB, as we know in Revelation 13, verse 16 to 18, either on the right hand or on the forehead, which really just refers to, because it can be any hand, or it could be, and that forehead is really reference to the brain, because that's how it's going to be. That's how the interface, they call it brain computer interface. That's how the Neuralink implant will be. And, there'll be different companies that will aid in that infrastructure. Anyways, let's get to the video though. So as it says here, you'll need ID to use the internet. Here's how it starts. So let's hear him out.
The days of having a free and anonymous internet are officially over. Many countries around the world, particularly Western countries, just like France, for example, are moving to ban social media access for children under 15. In this particular bill, which will probably pass soon because it's also passing in many other countries, I'll tell you the list of many countries around the world, particularly in the Western world, that are adding new internet restrictions. They will block access for under 15 years old to Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok, and the state media regulator would also have a list of harmful websites. It's not only France, also Denmark will ban social media for under 15s. Norway has proposed under 15 social media ban. Malaysia plans to ban access for under 16. The United Kingdom and digital ID and all this huge process, they're looking to ban social media access. New Zealand is looking to ban social media.
And of course, they could do this for video games as well, man. You know, even because you know, brothers who are into their gaming as well. You know, for Steam, for certain games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and pretty much the ones that, you know, have violence or, you know, content of which can be quite I guess aggressive. You know, they say you gotta verify your age, man. Now, of course, you know, again, you don't have to say a real, you know, real birthday, you know, in order to see the trailer or see the content on the Steam page. But let's say if that was to be implemented in the B system, they'll say, all right, you gotta confirm your implant ID, or scan it in order to prove your age, because everything will be verified through that implant, man. That's how ESO's gonna have that oversight on the masses, you know, on the people. So again, this is talking about social media restrictions for, I guess, I think he just said under 15s. So they're still teenagers, but, you know, young men and young women.
Websites. It's not only France, also Denmark will ban social media for under 15. Anonymous internet are officially media access for children.
Yes, under 15, under 15.
Many countries around the world, particularly in the Western world, that are adding new internet restrictions. They will block access for under 15 years old to Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok, and the state media regulator would also have a list of harmful websites. It's not only France, also Denmark will ban social media for under 15s. Norway has proposed under 15 social media ban. Malaysia plans to ban access for under 16. The United Kingdom and digital ID and all this huge process, they're looking to ban social media access. New Zealand is looking to ban social media access for under 16s.
See, that's a lot of countries. You said New Zealand, Malaysia, Denmark, Norway, and France. You know, so far for what you just mentioned, they're trying to ban under 15s or under 16s, man. Which, to be fair, in terms of parents, they'll probably be with it, considering, you know, we're in the age of phone addiction, internet addiction as well. You know, just doom scrolling, as the term goes. So, of course, this would be quite profitable when it comes to the development of the brains of these teenagers too. You know, go read a book, go outside, play some, go outside and play physically, man, instead of getting on the screen all day. You know, referring to the children, because it actually helps with their development. Now, but the thing is, Esau Edom, he wouldn't just stop there. He's gonna say, all right, even the adults as well, they're gonna be restricted too, man. The B system, everyone's gonna be restricted. You know, so if you ain't got Yahweh Shemi Shai in that time, you know, it's a done deal. You know, but as Yahweh said, you know, he will preserve us from the hour of temptation. You know, before I get that preset, let me play some more. I mean, I'm still go back to it, but let me play some more.
Many European countries like Spain, Italy, Greece, Germany, Sweden, and the EU as a whole is looking to ban social media access. Already, countries like Italy are requiring you to submit an ID in order to use AI tools like ChatGPT. Brazil has also moved to ban social media access for children, and countries like the United States have partial restrictions and more restrictions coming, as well as China, which has a minor mode and also has restrictions on social media access and internet access for children. This is an extremely controversial topic. There's two sides of people that support this or people that criticize this. The people that support this say that this is great for children. Children have depression. They're addicted to it. They have anxiety because of social media, and therefore we need to regulate it. And we need to ban it. We need to ban that access for children. We need to protect the children. You can understand that argument. And then there's the more sinister side that says it's not up to the government to regulate what we do. It's not up to the government to regulate what children are accessing online. And this is all just a slippery slope.
And it's true, it's the parents that are supposed to bring up a child the way they should go. Parents are the ones your father, your mother, when as you're growing, they're the ones you have the most impact, or are supposed to have the most impact in terms of what you learn, how you develop, in terms of what you consume as well. To a certain stage, for example, for the man, until the boy then grows into a man, and then he goes out there and he pretty much becomes self-sufficient, so that he can then have his own family, and he departs from his old family. But the point is, as their children, son, daughter, boy or girl, as they grow, the parents, the father and the mother, have an impact, are supposed to have the most impact on the children. But nowadays, of course, considering that, all right, Jake got to go to work, the mother got to go to work, some of them put their children to daycare, or if they go to primary school, what do they even call those job roles, man? Child minder or something? I forgot the job role, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, the ones who look after the children, either you take them to daycare, or you pay someone to come to your house in order to look after them, essentially. So then it's like you have all these multiple influences on the child's mind, instead of having a more refined road, a more refined road to how that child's mind should develop. The reason why I giggled a little bit when I said road was because I named the lesson "All roads of Edom lead." Let me read it again. So all the roads of Edom lead to the MOTB system, and that's it. Yeah, all of these measures that they're taking up is like, all right, nudge them a little bit more, nudge them a little bit more. It's like cornering someone, corner them, until the point where it's like, oh, they ain't got no choice, and either they're gonna give in, or they're gonna Yahweh Shem Yahshai gonna intervene. But in terms of being a man, a servant of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, if it's a regular old Joe, of the world, then they're gonna either give in, or they're just gonna die in vain anyways. So mass destruction to come. Anyways, I said I had some precepts, so let me get that. This is Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. That hour of temptation is referring to the time where people are going to be cornered. They're going to feel that pressure to take the implant. That's the hour of temptation. That's the final exam. You could consider the CV19 during 2020, 21, 2022 as the little test. For example, in school, you do a little test or a little quiz for whatever topics you're learning for the subject, and then you got that final exam before the semester ends, before the term ends, however you call it over there in America. But over here in the UK, we say semester or term. But yeah, before the term ends, you have that final exam. The final exam for us is that MOTB, where it's going to test the world. It's going to test everyone. So that's when, everyone's level of faith will then be tested. That's the final exam anyway. So it says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. This is Yahushua's words. Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell on the earth, man. So everyone's gonna have to make a decision. Who do you stand for? That's the whole that's the concept of what's gonna be happening. Is that, okay, choose a side. That's what the Most High is going to make people do. And for those of us who are committed to Yahweh Shem Yahshai, as we've been doing this work, we're going to be preserved from whatever Esau Edom puts upon those who take his implant, which we know the result, as it says in Revelation 16 and verse 2, about a noisome and grievous sore, a painful and a smelly sore, man. Which you could liken that as a cancer. And it's not just that, it's everlasting contempt, for those who are Jakes, man, aka Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, as well as a speckled bird out there who may look like heathens but are actually Israelites. Let me get this precept, because again, Esau's just gradually increasing that pressure, man. And then you're going to get crash outs as well. So Isaiah 10:1, that's why we need the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, so that we're stable in our spirit and in our minds. So woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness, painful stuff. In fact, let me even get it says which they have prescribed, the root word for grievousness, because I know grievousness is something that's either painful, something that's hard to get through. Yep, it says here, so amal, the root word for sometimes my mind goes blank, man. Just what was the word again? Oh, grievousness. So amal, it says toil, trouble, labor, trouble, mischief, toil, labor. So yeah, it's trouble. It's trouble, man. Some hardship. It says here, wearing effort, hence worry, whether of body or mind. You see, wearing effort, when the person feels weary, it's like, kind of tired, man. It's like, let's say you went out to do some exercise or a workout, and you feel charged, but you still feel the tiredness like a few hours after anyways. Now it says iniquity, labor, mischief, miserable, busy. I'm trying to include the Siri part, what's they call it? Prefix? No, suffix, yeah. At the end of a word. Painful, perverseness. So pretty much, yeah, that time of, it even says wearisome here at the end, wearisome wickedness. So it's a time of trouble where people are going to get tired. They're going to get weary. That's what the grievousness is referring to. All right, let's get back to it. So Isaiah, let me read in the NLT now. Isaiah 10:1. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws, man. Because woe also means destruction. So that's what's coming for Esau, Edom. All right, let's get this one as well. Psalms 2 and then verse 1. Psalms 2:1. Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? You see, Esau was making all these plans thinking that, yep, this is going to be the new system for the next 100 years, 50 years, or whatever he intended it to be for. But it won't work. It's a vain thing because of the fact that it's only for a temporary time and he's not willing to accept it. So verse 2, the kings of the earth set them, and again, because of his pride, that's why. It says that's why he can't accept the reality. As Akima out there preaching as Esau, Edom, watching in the shadows, he won't admit that what the prophets what we're saying is true. His rulership is temporary and it's coming to an end. You can't do anything to extend it. You're simply just playing out the steps until your miserable end. Is this the man, as the scriptures say? Psalms 2 and verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, shall have them in derision. So of course they think that, all right, we're gonna be able to escape the Most High's judgment, but they can't escape the Most High's judgment. They think they'll be able to do certain things against, the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, but they won't. They won't. You can win in the flesh, but in the spirit, you've already lost. It's simply a matter of time, that's all. Alright, let me get back to the video, play a little bit more, then I'll get one more preset, and then we'll wrap it up.
That says it's not up to the government to regulate what we do. It's not up to the government to regulate what children are accessing online. And this is all just a slippery slope in order to track everything you do online, in order to know what you search online, what you tell to AI chat tools, what social media you use and who you interact with, what videos you watch on YouTube, because obviously in order to access social media, you will need to prove that you're not a minor. How do you prove that you're not a minor? You need to submit an ID, a driving license, a passport, a national ID, and then your identity will be tied to whatever you do online. Therefore, it is not anonymous anymore. Absolutely everything you do online will be tied to your real identity. Those critics also say that governments are a bit naive about how smart children are. Children, if they want to access the internet, they are just going to use VPNs. They're way smarter than you think, and if a 12-year-old, for example, wants to access Instagram and he can't, he's just gonna download a VPN, pretend that he's in Argentina or wherever, or in Japan or whatever country is not implementing this at the moment, and then just...
And it's not just VPNs, you know, for those who are you are deeper into the tech, there are other ways as well, you know, like proxies, but I'll have to be getting technical if I was to try to explain that. But yeah, there are other ways to navigate through this stuff. But Esau's gonna seal all the cracks for this MOTB system. He's gonna seal all the cracks, man. Now, nevertheless, it doesn't mean that his system is flawless. There will be flaws in the B system, as I made a video recently. There will be flaws, but nevertheless of that, you know, Esau's gonna do a very, very diligent search when it comes to the infrastructure, you know, the foundation of the system, so that it all runs well. But at the end of the day, it's only for a temporary time.
Access the internet anyway. So what the government is going to do, the slippery slope argument, after that is just ban VPNs, and therefore you can't use a VPN. Therefore you can't access the internet at all without actually providing an ID. Then, because your identity is tied to all your internet access, you will be tracked online, and if whatever you do online goes against government agenda, you could potentially be prosecuted. Just like what happened in Australia, the horrific event that happened at Bondi Beach, shortly after that, the government implemented new rules and regulations combating hate and hate speech. Now, this is an extremely controversial topic also, and it's way out of my wheelhouse, so I'm bringing on an Australian criminal lawyer and a prosecutor as well, who will explain all the new regulations, all the new laws, how they might potentially affect Australian citizens, both inside of Australia and also expats, Australian citizens that move somewhere else, so stay tuned for that. But they essentially took this horrific event that happened, added new regulations around hatred and hate speech, and just an assumption of hate, or somebody feeling hate because of something you said, could be prosecuted as a hate crime.
Now imagine, and he's going to speak a little bit more on this, but imagine in a time where, you know, Esau's going to have his MOTB system, you know, full and it's running. Of course, with all the videos that we're creating that goes against Esau Edom, you know, exposing his system, there's going to be a lot of targets upon our backs, man. There's going to be a lot of targets. That's why we need the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua for our protection, man, and for our guidance as well as we walk. Some of us are going to be pilgrims. Some of us are going to die. Some of us are going to just be in the prison for a certain time. But at the end of the day, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua will protect us. And of course, even if you die in this truth, you'll be good with Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. You know, that's the point. That's our faith. So, you know, so this, you can see it, man. You know, this, you know, when they say, all right, anyone who perceives that a certain video or some content online can be perceived as a hatred or full of hate, you know, as we always curse out Esau Edom anyways, they're going to say, oh, what about these lot over here? You know, they're going to start saying, what about the Hebrew Israelites? Or they'll probably try and put us down by saying the black Hebrew Israelites, which is just, you know, for anyone who's in ignorance, they'll say that, because we're not all black. You know, as I said in the beginning of the video, or at some point in this video, Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, man. So it's not black Hebrew Israelites, it's Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew being the tongue, Israelites going back to the word in the ancient Hebrew, Yasha Allah, meaning he is the prince of the power. You know, he prince power. You know, so The point is, just prepare your minds for when people of the world will start targeting us because of what we say online. We know that. Remember, the heathens are spittle, and of course, when it concerns our people, let me get those precepts. Hold on. All right. So again, regarding to our people, I'll start from. I'll just start from verse 1, so just to get a clearer understanding. So Ezekiel 3:1. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll. The roll is referring to the Bible, the scriptures. And go speak unto the house of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, as well as a speckled bird out there. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And of course, when I say speckled bird, I'm talking about Jeremiah 12 and verse 9. So that concept is talking about Israelites who look like heathens but are not heathens. They're actually Israelites by blood. I think, again, quick concept. So imagine, let's say a so-called, and I say so-called because these can be seen as derogatory terms as well. A so-called black man, having sex with a so-called white woman as well. They go together, then the seed, the offspring, would then have a lighter toned skin. So they have the mixed race look, which that's a topic for another day. But there's no such thing as mixed race because it goes back to your seed line. Numbers I believe that's Numbers 14 or something, the pedigree. Hold on. You are your father's seed, so there's no such thing as mixed race. But anyways, before I start going up and down, so so-called black man, sleeps with a so-called white woman. They produce a so-called mixed race child, and then after, let's say that mixed race child goes with another white woman, then they get lighter. The offspring gets lighter. Now, third, fourth, fifth generation after, they get lighter, to the point where it's like the child at the fifth generation, probably like by the third or the fourth generation, looks like a so-called white person. But if you trace back the bloodline, so his father, well, great-grandfather or great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was actually a so-called black man. Hence why, there'll be certain traits he'll be able to relate with, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians far better than the heathen would. So that's the term. That's like a brief explanation of the speckled bird concept in Jeremiah 12 and verse 9. Anyways. So what did I say? Pedigrees, innit? Sometimes, it's a simple concept, but as new brothers come in, it's like you just gotta explain these things. So Numbers 1 and 18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upwards by their polls. So of course that shows you the father holds the seed. So of course when I say there's no such thing as mixed race, it's because you are who your father, you're from your father. That's a simple way of putting it. So instead of saying, let's say for example, if your father, let's say the father is let's say the father is Nigerian, and then the mother is let's say the mother is the Moab. So the father's Nigerian, the mother's Moab. People will say, people in the world will say, yeah, you're mixed race. Your father's, you're Nigerian and you're Chinese. I said Moab. The Moabites are the Chinese. Again, topic for another day. But yeah, so Nigerians and the Moabites, let me just say Chinese, because I'm used to saying Moab. So the Nigerians and the Chinese, Nigerian is the father, and then Chinese is the mother. But you are who your father is based upon this precept here, by the house of their fathers. So it means the seed, despite looking mixed race, you're actually Nigerian. You're actually, so-called a Judite or a Levite or Benjamite, depending on what the tribe is. But just for simplicity, you're Nigerian. You know, so that's that knocks off that mixed race concept. But you know, hopefully, Yaratazar, you do understand what I'm saying. Mixed race in terms of appearance, you know, having the lighter skin, the lighter brown skin, or over time, you have certain so-called mixed race people that actually look like a so-called white person. You know, so you can't judge an appearance. You gotta discern the spirits, man. That's when spiritual discernment is a very potent skill, you know, to have in this ministry. Where was I, man? I was gonna get a precept, then I got on a tangent on the mixed race thing. All right. So we're talking about digital IDs, and obviously using IDs in order to use the internet. Then I said, damn, this is a thing, man. I was going. Sometimes this is why I gotta just stay on the lane. Sometimes you go on another track, and then just to make sure that is already cleared. You know, but anyways, let me just do this, and Yarataz, I'll probably just wrap up the video, man. Unless, you know, it comes to me. Alright, not verse 12, verse 2. So Amos 9 and 2, though they dig into... okay, Thardia, I had it here. So 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 56, as for the other people which also come of Adam, it says, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle, saliva, spit, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a bucket. So they're worthless. They have no value. I say they have no value, but to be fair, in the grand scheme of things, they don't. Their purpose really is to serve us. But in terms of their innate value, you know, they're worthless. You know, as it says, a drop that falleth from a vessel. Let's say you're carrying a bucket of water. If you spilt some, you know, as you're on your journey, would you care about the spillage? Especially if it's just a little bit? As it says, a drop. You wouldn't care about it because, you know, it's meaningless. That's the way the Most High, that's the way we perceive the heathens. You know, all these other nations. So, that was the point. Like, oh yeah, now I remember. Thardia, Shai. So all these words and, you know, vain targets saying, oh yeah, they're a hate group and whatnot. We just favor our own people. That's really what it comes down to. You know, you know, we favor our own people, but of course, considering the actions of these other heathens as well, we have a right to have hatred towards them too. You know, just like the way the Most High hates Esau, Edom. You know, Esau have I hated. You know, Jacob have I loved, and then Esau have I hated, as it says in Malachi, I believe. Let me double check that. Hold on. Just to make sure. I believe it's Malachi 1 and 4. Or is it Micah 1 and 4? Yeah, that's it. Actually, hold on. Just wait. Yeah, it says Malachi 1 and 2, not even 1 and 4. Alright, Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein thou hast loved us. Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob. You see, it says in verse 3, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So really, it's a matter of favoritism and also hatred towards these other heathen nations because of all their actions. Remember, we got a list of enemies. So rightfully so, you know, you can say, yeah, we have a hatred, but it's also favoritism to our own people. You know, but anyways, so all these vain words that's gonna, you know, come upon us, we just gotta remember this is coming from a low-level people, man. From people regarded as spittle. And again, let me get this as well. The Most High, even when it comes to our own people coming against us, this is how the Most High has given us strength. It says in Ezekiel 3 and verse 8, starting from verse 8, behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, thy forehead strong against their foreheads. So of course our minds are stronger than them, our spirits are stronger than them. As an adamant, harder than flint, have I made thy forehead. Fear them not. That's a commandment from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We shouldn't fear these 2/3, these wicked Israelites, because first of all, they already got a timer on them anyways, to the point where they're going to get judged, especially over there in America. And these other wicked Israelites who resist against Yahweh Shem Yashai, they have their punishment awaiting them too. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. So it's like, all right, you want to rebel, you're going to see the consequences. You want to target the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yashai, you want to target us in this time, all right, so be it. You're going to suffer the consequence, man. In all manner of ways, pestilences, whatever form of judgment the Yahweh Shem Yashai has custom made for each of these 2/3 and wicked Israelites over this earth, man. So the point is, heathens, they're worthless. 2/3, they got weak minds anyways. Because we've been blessed with a hard mind, man. A strong mind. And you have to believe that innately. You got to know that within you. Because, with the belief, it's fundamental, man. Yahushua did talk on it with the disciples too. Faith and belief in Yahweh Shem Yahushua is fundamental. You got these scriptures, such as Joshua 1 and 9, Joshua 1 verse 8 to 9, be strong and of good courage. These are fundamental, to refine our minds when it comes to these times. It's preparation for these times to come. And so that when people use words, as the saying goes, words and sticks and stones. How does it go again, man? I haven't heard that in some time. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words don't hurt me. Words do hurt, by the way, but, of course, when you got the scriptures, it's like, all right, you're just, you see, first of all, for Israelites, you see them as sick. Isaiah 1 talks on that. The whole head is sick. So it's like, all right, why would you give any response to a sick person, man? It's like talking to a madman. That's how it is when we talk to these Israelites of the world. It's like, oh, you don't want to go back to Yahweh Shem Yashai, damn. So you've gone mad. You see it as a waste of time just responding to them. As the scripture say in Titus 2, not Titus 2, after the first and the second admonition dismiss. Hold on, let's give you Titus 3 and 8. Okay, it's not Titus 3 and 8. You know what? Let me type this then. First, admonishment. Alright, first, I know it's in Titus. First and the second admonition. Oh yeah, alright. So Titus 3 and 10. Oh, I didn't scroll far enough, that's why. So Titus 3 and 10, a man that is a heretic, a non-believer, after the first and the second admonition rejects. So it's like you tell him once, you tell him twice, for mercy's sake, maybe the third time, and it's like, he's gone mad, he's sick, just leave him be. And spiritually sick that I'm talking about, not physically sick. He could be physically sick, but spiritually sick is the main point here. Meaning he ain't coming back to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and he leave it be. That's it, man. That's why it's like, all right, in this time, the Most High is going to callous our minds to the point where it's like all these vain words that people be shouting, especially, Yahushai went through it. When they start saying, oh, he did this, he did that, all these false accusations. No. Yahushua stayed silent, man. He was like, all right, let me just let this bullshit go through, man. I just got to go through this bullshit. You already knew all this stuff, man, that Jake was on. Jake was in a sick state for them to say that. But anyways, that's really the point, okay? In this time, Yahweh Shem Yashai will fortify our minds against these wicked Israelites, will fortify our minds against these worthless heathens. And of course, in due time as well, Yaratazar, we're going to be joined onto Yahushua and then again bid to the marriage. So when it's Yaratazar, you found it edifying, and I'll link the video. At the end in the description, in case you want to finish it. So yeah, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Brakatha, And once more, double honors to the great Muslim apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom.